Sean Murphy has a fractured rib and will miss 4 to 6 weeks. Let's discuss on Fantasy Baseball Today Express. Welcome into FBT Express on Tuesday, March 4th. I am Frank Stampfl, joined by Scott White. We have more news. We have more injuries to discuss. And Sean Murphy is the latest. He will be out 4 to 6 weeks after being diagnosed with a fractured rib on his left side. He was hit by a pitch on Friday with Scott in attendance. Didn't seem like it was a big injury or anything like that.
Of course, he grunted when it hit him. It looked like it hurt. I was 9 rows back, so I had a good visual, could pick up the sounds really well. But he just trotted to first. I think he may have even stayed in to catch.
Yeah.
So it didn't seem like a big deal.
That happened way back on Friday.
Yeah.
They didn't reveal it until Monday. I drafted Sean Murphy in NL Labor on Saturday. So, of course, that is my luck. But, Scott, how much are you planning to lower Sean Murphy in your rankings? And are you planning to raise up Drake Baldwin at all? He could be the starter for the first couple of weeks of the season for the Braves.
Yeah, so my initial thought when I heard about this is, and when I heard they were identifying Drake Baldwin as the replacement, is, oh man, I wonder if this is just Drake Baldwin's moment, and he Wally Pips Sean Murphy. Big prospect, had huge numbers in the second half, especially at AAA last year, and has gotten rave reviews in camp. At some point, you expect Drake Baldwin to be part of the Braves catcher mix, just not so soon. But then you do the math, and 4 to 6 weeks from early March, yeah, it may only be a couple weeks that Sean Murphy is out. There could be a setback, of course, but with broken bones, you don't worry about that as much. So part of the reason they're planning on going with Baldwin at the start of the year is that if they were to go with, a depth guy, kind of a veteran journeyman, they would then have to outright them to return them in the minors. They wouldn't want to retain that. They wouldn't want to devote that 40-man spot to him long term. And so they don't want to do that. So they're just going to give Baldwin a shot. I don't think it's likely in those couple weeks that he's going to just overtake Sean Murphy. Could he perform well enough that they decide to keep him around as Sean Murphy's backup, which would require more of a timeshare between the two? I think that's plausible. What's also plausible is that Murphy is just kind of messed up all year because of this. Because you'll remember it was on opening day, a badly strained oblique. So the same kind of midsection injury. And he blames that for messing up his swing all season. So you would think a cracked rib, it would prevent him from swinging for a while, and he may be favoring it when he gets back, and it could have the same effect. Those would be the worries. But prior to this injury, I ranked Sean Murphy 16th. I wasn't ranking him for his upside. If I was ranking him for his upside, it'd be like 8th or something, not 16th. So I can only justify, given the timeline presented, moving him down one spot behind Ivan Herrera, who's a pretty interesting upside case himself. And that's all I think I'm going to do. I've already got a lot of downside risk baked into Murphy's ranking.
Yeah, so I moved Sean Murphy from 16 down to 19. So I moved him down a few spots. Just some other players who should be full-time catchers or close to it for their respective teams. Alejandro Kirk, Ivan Herrera, Keibert Ruiz, guys like that. I still do like Sean Murphy a lot. He has been a pretty big target for me as a second catcher in those 2-catcher leagues. So if you're getting a discount now on Sean Murphy, I think you should pounce on that, and then maybe just take Drake Baldwin as a bench option, use him early on in the season, and then once Sean Murphy is back, kind of put him back into your lineup. I also moved Drake Baldwin up to my 32nd ranked catcher. So in those deeper 2-catcher leagues, I think maybe he's someone you could look at for early on in the season while Sean Murphy is out. Let's take a quick break. When we return, we'll talk about a few other big injuries right after this.
One of golf's elite courses, Quail Hollow, hosts the game's top players at the PGA Championship this May on CBS.
Welcome back in FBT Express, taking a look at the latest injuries. And on yesterday's podcast, we mentioned Luis Gil was scratched from his bullpen last Friday, and he would go for an MRI. Well, we got the results of that MRI. He's been diagnosed with a high-grade right lat strain and will not throw for at least 6 weeks. Will not throw. So if we're doing the math, that brings us to the middle of April. And from that point forward, he has to get all the way back built up. So I think the earliest we see Luis Gil is the middle of May, the end of May, something like that. So, Scott, I dropped Luis Gil all the way down to my SP 85, 300th overall. Honestly, I don't even know if that's low enough.
Yeah, I'd go way lower. I'd go way lower.
That was
I have
my
no interest
deal.
in drafting him in a standard size league at this point. So I don't even think the number is worth mentioning. He'll be out of the draftable range to me because, yeah, I think you presented the most optimistic case. I think more likely we don't see him until June. And you know what? I didn't really trust the profile anyway. I had Luis Gil as a bust prior to this.
Yeah. So really just a name that you should be looking at if you have IL spots in your league as maybe a last round pick, something like that. It feels like Marcus Stroman.
I'd go Shane Bieber. I'd go Uri Perez. If I'm doing that, if I'm doing the last round IL stash, I'd go with either of them over Gil.
Yeah. Feels like Marcus Stroman will kind of slot into the Yankees rotation, though. I've seen some rumblings. Will Warren has had a nice camp for them, so we'll see what they wind up doing. But I do think it's at least Marcus Stroman for the time.
Lance Lynn's still out there. You never know.
Gosh. I was going to say, will he shave his beard? But I guess now you don't have to do that anymore.
He'll have to groom that beard, though.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know if Lance Lynn is grooming his beard for any team, let alone the Yankees. We did get an update on Wyatt Langford. He could make his spring training debut early this week. He resumed baseball activities last week after being diagnosed with a mild left oblique strain 10 days ago. So good news there. I really don't want the Rangers to rush Wyatt Langford back by any means. Give him as much time as he needs. Alexis Diaz, the Reds' presumed closer, has been held out of spring training games after tweaking his hamstring during fielding practice about a week ago. Diaz said on Monday that he feels great and expects to be ready for his Cactus League debut this weekend. Scott, any worry at all on Alexis Diaz? I mean, outside of performance and control and things like that, that maybe this hamstring can keep him out a little bit.
It's not a huge worry. It sounds like he's feeling great now and going to get back to pitching. And as a closer, he has enough time to get ready. But yeah, sort of like with Gil, it's not like he was somebody I was optimistic about drafting in the first place. I put him in my bust 2.0. So if he slides enough, I guess I'll have to consider it. But yeah, it's not something I'm desperate to do. By the way, Lance Lynn has pitched for the Yankees before. You may remember that, 2018.
Oh yeah,
Clean shaven Lance Lynn.
Gosh.
Kind of before he was a big deal, right?
Yeah, I just kind of threw that all the way back in the memory. Did not even register that Lance Lynn pitched for the Yankees, but yeah, now that you bring it up, that did happen. Last news item here, not injury related, but the Brewers signed Jose Quintana to a 1-year deal. Their updated rotation: Freddie Peralta, Tobias Myers, Nestor Cortez, Aaron Savali, and Jose Quintana. Scott, it's deeper league stuff here, maybe just a streamer, but any interest at all, Jose Quintana?
Yeah, I mean, he was a serviceable streamer type last year. Certainly in like NL only leagues, I have interest in him. And he tends not to work very deep into games. But I believe he had an ERA in the mid 3s last year, right? So he'll have his uses when the matchups are right, especially once attrition kicks in at starting pitcher. Yeah, 3.75 ERA last year, 3.57 the year before. Actually, 2.93 the year before that. Just the starts tend to be on the shorter side.
Mm-hmm. Again, that is Jose Quintana, who signed a 1-year deal with the Brewers. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to our full-length podcast, Fantasy Baseball Today, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today Express, and we will be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.